You want to know you bought it.
Sure.
Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard. This is Thomas Shelby.
Hi, I'm on our old microphones, so I sound great.
Man, you sound real weird.
Yeah.
This is Ryan Robinson.
Shanae, you also said Save Continue Podcast, and I like that.
Did I say? Yeah, we're the podcast now. And a very special guest, Tank Rodriguez.
Hooray.
What up, everybody?
What up, Tank?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Talk about Ongo Bongo a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay.
It's the leg drop of video games.
Oh,
He has his own podcast.
I know Aku Aku.
I don't know any of these terms. It is all over my head.
That's another wrestling term, Shanae.
No, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I will confirm that is not. But first of all, I want to say thank you again for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do want to just cover one thing here.
Sure.
Why y'all so mean to Shanae, man?
Well, you see,
Yeah.
she deserves it.
I
Yeah.
do.
She asked for it.
I know. I just
Like,
wanted a reason. I
regularly.
agree with you 100%.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
feel
much
free to
time you
join
have
in.
spend with her.
It's actually like really fun once you really
Yeah.
lay into her.
Okay. I mean, I came here for an apology because y'all called me an idiot.
I don't even remember.
You
know
called
what's
you an
funny?
idiot?
A friend of ours in our Discord said that I called him a virgin on
Yeah,
our
you
last
did. You
episode.
did do
I
that.
don't even remember that.
You did do that.
No, I'm just kidding, guys. No, but
We make a lot of incendiary remarks.
Yeah.
The thing is, I've been listening to your podcast since I met Shanae.
Cool.
One of the first things she told me, she goes, "You have a podcast? I have a podcast."
I mean, everybody has a podcast these
Right?
days.
Who doesn't? Right?
Yeah.
But I've been listening to y'all, and I think what y'all are doing is phenomenal.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
You know, it's been a long time since we got a compliment, because ever since Shanae showed up, they just kind of dried up.
So I was listening to y'all's last week's episode, or this past week's episode.
Man, you have a good podcast voice.
Oh,
Yeah, you really do.
Thank you so much. Maybe I should start a podcast.
Just a reply all over here.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, he from his message, he does have his own. I was actually on it recently.
Yeah.
Shanae, save the plugs, okay?
Yeah, we can
could
save
you,
the plugs for the
chill
end.
out. Like, he's the guest. Let him talk.
Should we start over? Or?
No, she's good.
Do I need to leave?
Yeah.
Would that be better for
So
everyone?
whenever, if you want to talk, just say "let me finish," and then she'll clam up.
Can I finish?
No, let me finish.
Listening to this past week's episode,
Yeah.
when y'all were kind of dissing on Sonic a little bit, but I'll say this, it's not, granted, it's not my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
But without Sonic, I don't think Nintendo or the Mario franchise goes to where it needs to be. There wasn't a challenge to really have it to where we had these wonderful games.
Yeah, maybe.
I like the early Sonic games.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I think that the only difference between those is the trajectory.
Yeah, when you get to like Sonic 2006.
Okay, well,
Like,
we're not
you
going
know.
there, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mario continued to improve, whereas
Sonic Heroes.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
Colors,
the
generations.
Sonic Adventures on the Dreamcast. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, ahead of its time.
Run away from that whale.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was really a really great
I
game.
love Sonic Adventure too.
Yeah, run away from that
that
truck.
one too. That was
But like, here's the thing, right? Like, I go back to those and they're not fun for me anymore, and I can go back to Mario games that are way older and they're still fun.
Okay, so let me ask you a question because you said, and I think it was you that said it.
It wasn't me.
You said
was
that you would rather play the worst Mario game over the Sonic game, right?
Over the best Sonic game.
Best Sonic game.
Shanae said that, yeah.
Okay, Shanae said it. So Shanae, what you're saying is you rather play Lost Levels than
I love Lost Levels.
Lost Levels is pretty rad, dude.
It's just hard.
Okay, wait. You're going to say
It's
Lost?
Mario 1. It's just hard.
Yeah. You
It's
don't
the
like that?
hard Mario 1.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to go back
Yeah.
and play it, but I didn't like it at all.
The reason we got Doki Doki Panic here, which became Mario Brothers 2 in the
Right.
States, is because they thought that
Lost
Mario 2 in Japan, Lost Levels here,
Yeah.
was too hard for North Americans.
And I love Doki Doki, but Panic because I know there's other variations of Doki Doki games.
Get doked.
Get doked out.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
I like that.
No, but so Super Mario 2 is probably my earliest memory of playing video games.
Yeah.
And
That's actually pretty cool.
yeah, it was just I mean,
Mouser.
granted,
Wart.
Granted, I just played Princess the whole time because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like
Yeah,
3
she
years
floats.
old. 3 years old, and she could float over, over the platforms. So, yeah. I mean, I get it. I understand. I mean, I understand like why Lost Levels is still good. I just never really. I don't have that connection with it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play it. I don't think most of us played it until Mario All Stars came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a hard fucking game. But it's just more Mario 1.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's where I was coming with is as far as like it's just Mario 1 slightly.
So
harder.
there's like Mario Philips CDI games that are really awful. And those were licensed by Nintendo. So those are real Mario games, and those are worse than Sonic for sure.
Okay.
So
What about the Legend of Zelda
So-
CDI game?
No, those are bad too.
that's the first ever retraction on this show, I think.
Yeah.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that happened.
I like that now you have a camera. You're like focusing and like talking to
Oh,
it.
you're not doing video on your podcast?
I don't.
Oh man, when you do video, it opens up all sorts of shit.
It does not.
You can make faces.
We were able to get some good gifs of my brain melting down.
Oh, yeah.
Or like snapshots of it of me just looking super pissed at the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got to do like the video game console review where we like had like special editions and we rated them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
That went over real well with our audio listeners.
Yep.
it would be interesting because where I record my podcast, it's not a hole in the wall.
It looks like a dungeon.
It really does, and I call it the dungeon.
That's
but
where Bret the Hitman Hart practices wrestling. moves.
actually it was, and then he stops in from time to time. We hang out for a little bit, but we were recording one day, and again, it's an older building, and this gigantic cockroach just walks in, like opens the door, and I wish we could have gotten that on camera because that was. James, another co-host of the show, was just like, put a saddle on that thing, and you're just like,
That's awesome.
maybe video will be incorporated.
I like big
later.
bugs. Big bugs.
And you
are cool.
cannot lie.
Well, the funny thing about video is like you'll see us like sometimes shit'll happen. You'll see like Sinead drop a microphone over or like random stuff like that, and it's
There was a moment during one of the
once we recorded with Sinead's dog in here, and that was horrible.
yeah, fuck that. She's
yeah.
not allowed. She got
Yeah.
banned.
That's a bad dog.
Yeah, that is
She
a
was a
bad
puppy.
dog.
She's much better
That is
now.
a bad fucking dog.
I have a show next week, and they're gonna bring their kids, so that's gonna be interesting. Very interesting. So yeah.
Are the kids going to be on the show? Give the kids mics.
We had our friend's daughter on the show one time.
Oh,
she
yeah,
popped-
she threatened EA. She
Yeah, that
threatened
was
to kill
pretty
them.
cool.
Yeah.
She said, make Skate 3 or I'm going to kill you.
Skate 4.
Skate 4.
Skate 4 or I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
So we don't allow children anymore.
Okay.
Hey, so not to like take control. I'm sorry.
Nah, man, it's your show. We're just on it, man.
No, I'm curious because I listen to the show all the time, and I'm actually a really really big fan of the show, and
Cool.
it's always just like it sparked my interest or my curiosity. Like the reason I started my podcast or more specifically my wrestling podcast is my undying love for wrestling, as weird as that sounds. But what
Nothing weird about loving wrestling, man.
thank you so much. But what made it like it's like, hey, you know what? This is probably a good idea to start the video game.
So Tom and I lived together for about a year recently, and back when I used to smoke cigarettes, we used to hang out on the back porch and talk about video games and smoke cigarettes for about an hour or so. And we realized like this would make a really good podcast, and then we didn't do it. And then a couple of years later, we started talking about it, and we decided that we were going to do it.
And Ryan was writing at the time for a couple of small video game websites.
Yeah.
And one of them, savecontinue.com,
Yeah,
was like, hey,
we appropriated it.
yeah. So we started as like a podcast for them.
Yeah.
And then they just stopped doing anything, and we kept going.
Yeah, and we didn't want to change the name because we'd done too many episodes under this name.
But that's what we were talking about in the garage. That was nice. Is like with that came like codes for games and
Yeah,
snowball mics, crap like that. You know.
man.
yeah. Which I mean, that sort of thing was really cool. But what I did like a lot about it was even though at the time we were attached to a website, like there was no real oversight over what we were doing. We were kind of just able to talk about whatever we wanted. And then after the site basically died. We just kept doing it, and then Shanae showed up, and then
And they couldn't get rid of me,
Yeah.
so here we are.
yeah. But we just like to talk about video games a lot.
Side note, before I comment on that, Shanae's in our Slack room. All she does is talk in Elite.
In what?
The fuck is that?
Leet.
What is that?
I don't know that.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought that joke would go over really well.
I don't know. What
No,
I don't know what
no,
that
no.
is.
Lead is like computer lingo when you use like numbers instead of letters.
Oh. Yeah. No, we're
No.
dumb and old.
Yeah,
well, I'm old too.
Yeah.
I use
Wait,
letters.
I'm 33. Am I older than any of y'all?
No.
Okay, I'm the.
You're older than Shanae.
yeah,
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, I never get to be the old guy.
I've been 35 for about 3 months now.
Oh, no, okay, we're on the same age.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, no, just at work. Actually, I make jokes in the Slack room, and then Tank just shits on them.
I was about to say, like, did anybody actually like your jokes?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. It's, like the show, hit or miss.
Sure.
Sure.
No, actually, no, we've done episodes before where we've gone over each of our history with video games and like how we got into them, like what they mean to us before.
Nice.
Mine is I've just always been interested in video games. I've never had the knowledge that's come with these guys. So like one of the things I love about doing the show and continually love is that I learn a lot from them.
But you don't remember any of it.
But I have a goldfish of a memory. I
have a goldfish.
I have the memory of a goldfish. So like
Sure.
and I like reverse things in my mind all the time. So there are a lot of things that like I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
But because I'm constantly losing memories, it is like I learned the same fact over and over again, and I'm always excited.
That sounds like a hellish existence.
Well, no, because like every week she brings up the Columbo thing to me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Not every week.
And she's like, "Hey, did you know they made a Mrs. Columbo?"
Oh, shut up.
Columbros.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's a good one. Tommy's a genius, man. He's a smart motherfucker, man.
That was good on the.
We
fly
like
stuff.
old shows.
Yeah. I was telling
they
Tom
like old shows.
that he's always mentioning. So, for our audio listeners who don't realize this, I'm a black man, and I know a lot of stuff that like I know a lot of pop culture stuff that like mostly black people know.
Yeah.
And like stuff that like none of my white friends know. But Tom keeps mentioning
like
like
what?
like there's a show called Rock starring a one Charles Dutton who was a titular Rock.
The Garbage Man.
He was a garbage man. And like none of my white friends or non-black friends know what Rock is, but Tom mentioned it out of nowhere for some reason. And I was like, why do you know all this stuff? And he's like, I don't know, I just know it. That's why I love him, because he knows everything.
Facts.
Not about wrestling.
Sure.
No, Ryan's your go-to guy on the table for that.
I don't know anything about current wrestling. Like I'm all about the 80s through the end of the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
all good stuff.
Attitude Era had a bunch of swearing and blood and boobs and, stuff.
boobies.
Wait,
Yeah.
Tank, do you know Fire Pro Wrestling,
Yes.
the video games?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know who Suda51 is?
No, I don't know. Probably the characters on them.
No. Well, no, he's a developer.
Oh,
But
okay.
one of the first games he worked on was an old Fire Pro game, and like the story of it is like after you win the championship, you go home and blow your brains out, and that's in a video game.
That's. I mean,
Yeah, wrestling's cool.
wrestling video game.
that's. I wouldn't be far off from the truth sometimes.
My favorite thing about that, and I don't mean to go off on a rant here, but
No, this is the platform to go off on rants.
it's funny because like when I was watching wrestling a lot, it was back when Stone Cold was really active. And my favorite thing about Stone Cold was that he used to get to show up to work and beat up his boss every day. And then his boss would fire him, and he would still keep showing up to work and getting paid and beating up his boss.
No, I'm not. I'm not fired.
And I think that's a really cool thing to be able to do.
What?
That
did
is
he
cool.
Beat up Vince McMahon?
Yeah, he used to show up and beat up Vince McMahon. He always one time Vince McMahon got hurt really bad and had to go to the hospital. So Stone Cold disguised himself as a doctor and snuck into Vince McMahon's room and beat the shit out of him.
with a bedpan.
Yeah.
A metal bedpan.
Yeah, it
That
was really cool.
It was a good time for TV, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and that's why I am where I am today.
Have you because you love wrestling so much? Have you played like up until obviously the current generation of consoles a lot of wrestling games?
I've played a lot of wrestling games, but My video game track record stops at like mid PS3. I have
That's not too long ago.
yeah, I have a very addictive personality, and at one point in time, I was running my own business.
Yeah.
Like I was selling like eBay. I was selling a lot on eBay, and I was making very good money. And then that's when like Black Ops came out, the first one, and I would just spend hours, days playing it. And it wasn't until one day when I realized my car got towed.
Holy shit!
Repoed at that.
Oh my god!
I lost track of time. I love video games.
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, I just had to put it away.
Sure.
For that, and it's not. I mean, I'm good now. Like I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably pay some bills.
Sure.
But every now. But okay. But going back to your original question, my favorite video game is wrestling video game was WWF Royal Rumble for Super Nintendo.
I remember that game.
Yeah, it was so easy. It was just very very user friendly.
Yeah.
And it was but it still had that challenge in there, and it had like a good cast of characters, of wrestlers in there. I definitely dug it because like you would go over like the selection screen or the character selection screen,
song.
and you would play their theme song, and then so. Back then they didn't have like the albums, you couldn't do it. So
It was a MIDI version of the theme songs.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so me and my brothers, we would like just play the theme song and then just act like we're coming out.
Cool.
Did you know that Fred Durst is an unlockable playable character in the Fight Club video game and 2 wrestling video games?
There's
That does not surprise me.
There's a YouTube
Well, he's the
video
Durst.
in my my watch laters is
Matt McMuscles?
well, I don't know if it was from him, if it was from that one.
Because he recently did one on like
about
all the video games that Fred Durst
Yes,
is in.
that one. Yeah, that one's in there, and
So fucking funny.
now I'm gonna watch. I actually put it in my watch later like 2 days ago, and I was like, okay, this seems good.
Yeah. It's just Fight Club and wrestling games for the most part.
I mean,
Yeah.
you think about the '90s or like the late '90s in there, and like how
New metal, man.
like
New metal,
metal.
rap metal.
Limp and Kid Rock like
Yeah.
destroyed that market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Ba
just-
to ba, dude.
I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what his like political affiliation is. I love Kid Rock, and I'm not,
Like unironically. Actually, yeah, you do look like a Kid Rock fan.
I love him.
Sure.
Shout out Kid Rock.
Ryan and I grew up listening to a lot of new metal stuff.
Sure. In fact, we frequently bonded over it.
Yeah, for sure. But I've always heard that the N64 wrestling games were really good,
They're the best.
and I've never played any of them. But I like fighting games.
Yeah, WCW versus NWO, probably one of the
Yeah,
best you can
absolutely.
get your hands on.
I remember the first Def Jam game was literally that with rappers in it,
Yeah,
and so like it was because it was really easy, like
Was it like as in like they basically just took like the same game but just changed the character models, like all the like
well it's a little bit more than that, but like the way the game worked was basically the
Okay.
same, and it was just really easy because like all the throws that you had was like the throw button plus a direction. So like everybody had 4 throws, and then to do the super move, you just move the right stick, and like you would do a taunt, and so that game was like the last, I feel like was like the last time like that kind of wrestling game existed,
Yeah.
and now they try to make wrestling games like super realistic, and they're just not fun.
well, the new WWE that game that just came out horrible.
Yeah, 2K20, it had a lot
Yeah.
of bugs. I know that.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
funky. And I tried to play the one before that, and it's just so I don't know. It just there's like different, maybe because I haven't played in a while.
Sure.
But like you have to know like actual. Like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just not fun. It's not.
Yeah.
You can't just pick it up and play.
Yeah. So the last wrestling game that I played was 2K16, and like their whole angle with wrestling games now is trying to make them like as realistic as possible, and like with that like that they're trying to like translate the technique of pro wrestling into like a controller interface, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. Whereas
We saw that a lot, like with around that time and a few years before, with games like Skate and with games like fucking what's the boxing one? Fight Night.
Fight Night,
Fight
yeah.
Night.
Yeah, like they were all trying to do that. Even like the UFC games still try to do
Sure.
that. You know.
Sure.
Well, actually, a lot of UFC. I've heard a lot of good things about some of the UFC games when they first
Oh,
started
sure.
launching on the PS3.
Yeah, and Fight Night was great. Skate was great.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems
And especially wrestling being like such a like pop culture thing and a very like in your face fun time thing.
Yeah.
Like you would think that they wouldn't try to make it so serious.
Yeah, and like
know?
they try to like make it like a really like all like wrestling games they've tried to make them like this really weird like kind of technical sort of thing, and it doesn't work when like because wrestling games like you said were just like supposed to be just like just pick them up and have a good time with your friends, and you can't really do that.
But they also have like the best character creators.
Sure.
They do.
Agreed.
You can wrestle anything.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't remember which one it was, but they put Terminator in one of them. Some bitches.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the Double Dragon where they have like the old school arcade WrestleMania games where they just have like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior just destroying everybody?
No,
It's
that's awesome.
like
though.
I didn't think I was like, okay, I'll just watch like 30 seconds of it. No, I watched the whole freaking
Yeah.
video, the whole gameplay, the whole game.
Yeah, man.
What you got, Shanae?
Yeah.
You keep looking at your little
your-
dictionary.
You caught.
Your
Yeah.
diary.
No. I'm just making little notes on stuff. Like it's I don't have anything like super prepped right now. Yeah. So besides like the Doki Doki and obviously the wrestling games, like what other games have like really been impactful for you, Tank?
Well, that was a good question. I was actually going to ask you a question like, what is your favorite Mega Man game and why is it 2?
Is everybody's favorite?
2 is my favorite. And people, right. People go between 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Those are the most common answers. And 3 is a little bit harder. 2 is a little bit easier. I like 2 because it's easy. Like, I'm not as good at those games now as I used to be. You know, so 2 I can
Getting
still
old.
go
Yeah.
back to and just run through it real fast.
For sure.
And I think it's the best game to teach people how to play Mega Man.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mega Man, definitely Mega Man. I grew up with, I mean, Mario 2, Mario 3. Though I think one of the most important games, and I know this is really off. So I had a really rough childhood growing up. You know, I had 2 half brothers that went to their dads on the weekends. But when they were there, we spent hours on Mario Paint.
Yeah.
It was weird. I think it was more so because I couldn't play, you know, I wasn't as advanced as them when I was playing video games. But so we spent like so much time like making music on that. And
Mario Paint?
Yeah,
Mario
pe-
Paint,
pe-
Super
pe-
Nintendo.
I
People
never
are-
played it.
Mouse peripheral and all
Yeah,
that.
people are still making music on that son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
yeah, and it's probably one of the most like when I think about like those like our parents fighting, you know, and all this stuff, like the cops coming,
Yeah.
you know, like just all this chaos, and then we just you know hunkered down in our room and just like made music or played the ant game and
The Fly Swatter.
yeah, the fly,
yes,
the fly game. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
Nat Attack.
Nat Attack. Yeah, so that one. I mean, it's not my all-time favorite game, but it's the one I most have the biggest memories with.
Sure.
Mario Paint is badass, man.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they haven't brought that back in some way, especially with like the Wii and the Switch being
Yeah.
what they are. You would think
yeah.
it'd be.
That's
you know,
actually a good idea.
But
And of course,
You're welcome, Nintendo.
But if I had to put it like the all-time favorite game, like of all time, just like it's probably a tie between Link to the Past,
Hell yeah.
and
It's a
Mario
one.
64.
Man, you got some good taste, my man.
I was playing Link to the Past last night with Bailey.
really, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a perfect game. It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
like it really is.
Got your pink hair going.
Yeah, exactly. and it just really, I mean, growing up like, you know, somewhat alone after like, you know, after my parents eventually split, you know, it really allowed me to like just get lost in like the actual world, you
Yeah.
know, and perfect soundtrack. I mean, that soundtrack is, it's something that I listen to even at the gym sometimes. Like I'll pop it on there. That with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Oh hell yeah!
not the arcade game.
Oh.
The
the NES one.
yeah, the NES
The
one.
side-scrolling one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
I've
that.
got some good music in it too.
It's a bomb ass soundtrack. But
Game
yeah,
sucks, but
That game's pretty cool.
I love that game.
I was never a fan.
Like it's hard, but it's cool. Like
I was just never a fan.
I saw recently on Instagram there's this guy I follow who does like these video game dioramas. So it, like takes scenes from video games and makes these dioramas out of
Like
them.
out of a shoebox?
No, they're like really nice looking.
Is that the one he did the underwater?
With the bomb.
Yeah,
the
that's-
bombing
I saw
mission
that.
at the
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
So cool.
No, but no. I know like when you get too much action going on, it'll slow down.
Yeah, I was just talking about that the other night and how I thought that was really cool, and I didn't realize until later that was because like, you know.
But speaking of that, like with the Mega Man Legacy collections, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know, the early NES Mega Man games could have 3 enemies on screen at any given time. And a lot of times when other effects were going on, the game would slow down quite a bit. With the Legacy Collection, like they've kept that slowdown in there because if they take it out now, people will complain.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not the same.
Like PS4 can put 30 fucking enemies on the screen.
A
and be
million if
fine.
they want.
Yeah, but like they keep the slowdown there.
But then too, like Mega Man X is probably like one thing like that I always go to if I'm talking about Super Nintendo.
Sure.
Other than of course Link to the Past, Super Mario World. But I mean Mega Man X for me just did something great, and that one I didn't even play until I was like in my 20s.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I was like, why was I never exposed to this one? It took me forever because again, I'm not at y'all's level of pro gamer. I'm not a pro. gamer. No. I'll never make that claim.
I'm garbage at video games.
But it took me forever to like it was kind of like y'all's rendering story. Like it's at 6 hours until well, because at the beginning you're supposed to die, and no one never told me that, so I was resetting and resetting and resetting.
Oh really? That's funny.
That is funny. I mean, but to be fair, they don't tell you that.
Yeah, but that's how video game go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my. What about y'all's favorite video games growing up?
Growing up, I don't know, man. Like I loved Tetris. I loved Mario, like 1 and 3 quite a bit. I like 2, but 1 and 3 for sure were my favorites. Zelda, but I don't know. As I got older, like it's kind of all over the place, man. Like it's kind of like you said. Like it goes. I think of certain people that I played with.
Exactly.
Mario Kart with my sister or Doom with my dad. Like it's everywhere.
Oh, but speaking of which, too, like my first computer game was Wolf 3D.
Man,
hell
you're
yeah.
a little badass.
Oh man, no. So
Kill them Nazis.
yeah, it was. I found it by accident. I'm sure y'all remember like star.star in your DOS shell prompt. This is a joke. No, I don't think anyone remembers DOS shell.
No.
I don't know what that is.
DOS shell was like before Windows.
Oh, okay.
So you would have to do
How old
star.star.
are
It
you
means
again?
I'm 33.
Okay.
But I saw hackers at a really, really young age.
Sure,
and it made me want to learn computers.
Hack
so,
the
like,
planet.
Hack the planet. No, I'm not even kidding. That movie inspired me to learn about computers, and so like I started reading. My grandpa was an engineer for Home Shopping Network.
Yeah.
A computer engineer. So I know that sounds really weird, but
No, but that's why I laugh.
yeah. So he had a bunch of books, and I granted, I didn't understand a lot of it. But I would ask him questions, and I would start messing around with the computer. So star.star just means check all files in a certain disk. So what you type it out, and it'll just give you like the matrix prompt, and show all the files there. And I saw one that said Wolf 3D, and I just
I found it.
Yeah, I just typed it in, and I was like, holy
So wait,
shit.
you were immediately intrigued by something called Wolf 3D without having any idea what it was.
And no idea.
And then you load it up and you're shooting Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm not sure if Doom was out already, but I wouldn't even have access to it because I was using B floppies, those big floppy disks. So I didn't even have a CD-ROM computer at all. So yeah, that one I spent hours.
Well, Doom was originally floppy.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I had no. I'm probably like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So like just messing around with this.
Yeah.
And so I had no earthly idea. And of course, I don't say I was sheltered by any means. I just had no other outlet to like be exposed to these other games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in your little bubble.
Yeah, exactly. So that one, and then when I found out about Doom, I was like, that's like Wolf 3D. I was like, what is this? Like, what's it
You
called?
thought you were going to see some pictures of wolves, man.
But what about you, man? What was your favorite video game?
Well, I think, like Tom, I was kind of all over the place. I think the most consistent through line in my childhood was a lot of mostly brawlers, like River City Ransom,
Yup.
and
Awesome.
Streets of Rage, and Final Fight and shit like that.
Final Fight's amazing.
But when I was maybe 7 or 8, my mom, I think every other weekend would need to go to the mall for one reason or another. And that was back when malls had arcades in them.
Right.
And so she'd always give me some money to hang out in the arcade. And so like a lot of my favorite games were in the arcade, and like Chase HQ and like games, and then like the Alien vs Predator arcade game, shit like that. But for the most part, like it's weird because I always try to think about like the games that I had growing up, and for some reason I cannot remember like the games I had as a kid. I don't know what it is. I can't, like, for like very few exceptions, I can't remember the games I had as a kid.
There's just so many of them.
There weren't even that many, I don't think. I just don't remember them. It's just the
So
weird.
Ryan and I started hanging out in
thing.
middle school. And at least from that point on, Ryan always had the most video games of any of us. His mom just bought him a ton of games.
Yeah. Being an only child, I was
Yeah.
afforded that luxury.
Also, just having a cool ass mom.
He had these like
know.
milk crates, just
man.
like full of games.
yeah, like
you know?
what do y'all want to play?
Yeah.
What do y'all want to play?
What are you playing?
So it's funny because like, I think like a lot of kids, like I would see what my friends had, and then I would immediately ask my mom for it.
Yeah.
And my mom
You
made
got
a
to keep up with the Joneses.
sure. My mom made a pretty good living, and I was only child, so like usually it was possible. Like one year I was like, I want a Super Nintendo, so she got me Super Nintendo, and I went over to my best friend at the time's house, and he's like, he's got a Sega Genesis. I want a Sega Genesis. So the next year I had a Sega Genesis. But then like.
See, for me, it was like, you got a Super Nintendo, so we're going to give your old Nintendo to some poor kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks, Mom.
And then and then it became like every year, like I was spoiled in that every year, like I got a new console.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, but I remember,
That's a sweet, sweet living.
dude, man, the year that like
no one's buying me consoles.
that I got a PS2.
We've seen your picture with your Game Boy. Shut
Yeah,
up,
fuck
Snake.
that, dude.
Not
Should
now.
it-
Not about now.
So
I'm talking
Tank, I don't know
now.
if you know. I don't know
Mom's
if
not buying him consoles now.
yeah,
might.
like I gotta buy that shit myself. As a matter of fact, so I lamented that when I was a kid, my mom every Easter.
Every
Easter.
Every Easter, she would buy me.
the bread
She would put a video game in my Easter basket,
Yeah,
Oh, that's dope.
and
that is really cool.
that is and like
So jealous.
I don't
and-
think we had Easter baskets.
yeah,
I did. I
and
just had
like
candy.
I would just eat chocolate and play Sega Saturn video games. It was cool. Yeah, because I remember one year I got Die Hard Trilogy for the Sega Saturn in my Easter basket.
Yeah,
Oh,
But I remember last Easter.
that's the second coming of Die Hard.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Die Hard's 1, 2, and 3. But like I told my partner that like my mom used to get me video games for Easter,
Yeah,
and then that Easter she brought me Rage 2.
yeah. So now she's your mom.
Yeah,
she's the mom now.
she's the mom now. But yeah, but I was gonna say like I remember the year that the
Wasn't that Amanda Bynes? She's the mom.
no she's the
She's
the
all
man.
that.
no she's
Oh.
the
man.
she's the man because she pretended to be a feller.
Not she's the
and play
mom.
and play soccer.
But like nobody
Horrible
picked up.
depiction.
No
Like,
one picked up on the fact that she was a lady. Like somehow I don't know.
Well, I mean,
she also played her own stalker in the Amanda
So
show.
it's like Joanna Man.
Sure.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
What was that 80s movie?
No, I feel like Jawana Man's a
one of
little
the
bit more
boys?
complicated.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Ah.
it was the same concept. Just one of the boys. She played football, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And
Well,
at the
what-
end, she shows her boobs. I'm like, what? What was the point
What?
of that?
Also, GI Jane. Isn't that the same premise?
No,
No.
everybody knew that. Everybody
Yeah.
knew that GI Jane was a lady.
You're thinking of Mulan.
Yeah,
Ah, yes.
leave it to Sinead to whitewash Mulan. But man, I remember the year I got a PS2, and I got GTA 3, Tony Hawk 3,
I remember
and
that
Half
year.
Life. Dude, so Tom comes over to play my PlayStation with me, and we just spent all day playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, and it was fucking great. And
Pro Skater was super good.
yeah,
Yep.
I remember being so mad if like my cousin got like a higher score than me,
I get
and
better,
I would
guess.
just like wait till they left and then just play it for like that same level over and over and over again.
Yeah, I like how Shanae said that her parents weren't buying her consoles and shit, but she's got a picture of her surrounded by Pokemon crap.
That's true.
I have
and a
I have a
new Game
Pokemon
Boy.
plushie, and then the Pokemon Color, and then I have red, blue, and yellow 1 year, and that was like the sweetest Christmas ever.
Yeah, and you were still a bad kid. So.
Well, at that point I wasn't, and then later I became a bad kid because they stopped buying me Pokemon shit.
Cool.
Hey, so I have three fond memories of Sega Saturn.
That's
First-
about all you're gonna get.
Yeah, so Virtual Fighter,
Sure.
right? Ken Griffey's home run.
Oh yeah, I had the demo for that.
Yeah, I think I had the demo.
Was
for
that the same as Super Nintendo or better?
With the Ken Griffey's game.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Sega Saturn got some Ken Griffey's Home Run Derby game.
Yeah, it was a home run derby game,
Yeah.
and then Clockwork.
Clockwork Knight.
Yeah, Clockwork Knight.
Yeah.
I think
I've seen that, but I've never played it.
Clockwork Knight is. I can't say if it's good.
It was cool.
I just think I just played it.
Yeah, it was like I remember feeling like it was cool back then,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I would still think it was cool now.
I think I liked it because it reminded me of Toy Story on the Genesis.
I was about to say because you get that big chunky ass sprite.
Yeah, exactly. And then
They made 2 of them motherfuckers too.
yeah, there was. And then the soundtrack was actually pretty cool. It had like a little salsa vibe to it. So
Yeah.
but that's pretty much all that I have. The memories.
Yeah. So when I got by the time I got my Saturn, it came with three Virtua games. No, it came with Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop, and Daytona USA. So
Yeah, Daytona was cool though.
yeah,
Daytona's awesome. We have a friend listener who's a record holder in Daytona.
yeah, that's the one Tom
Corey?
called a virgin.
No abs.
Oh,
I've honestly
go abs.
like I played that game for years, probably over a decade still. When I see it at the whenever they have like a diversion, the diversion still has it.
Did they ever make how many of those? Did they make more than one? They made more than one, right?
More than one. What? Daytona? Well, Daytona
Probs.
USA has like 4 different versions.
Okay, so there's never like a sequel. Just
I'm not
different versions
sure.
of the.
I've never even finished like one course of
Yeah.
that game, but I play it so much.
Like Sega
You would think it would
GT,
get better.
Sega GT has several different games.
Yeah.
But Daytona's weird in that like the Saturn had 2 versions of Daytona. You know, but
Didn't Saturn have that cheat where you can play as a horse?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. As a matter of fact, while you were talking about Daytona, I saw it in my head and I heard the galloping on the track in my brain. It was really funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
So do you think like Sega was just ahead of its time, or do you think it
Yes.
just made crappy products?
Sega's awesome, dude.
I think Sega was very far ahead of its time. The problem with Sega and the problem that fuck the Saturn is they didn't market it ahead of time. They just shadow dropped it.
Yeah.
And they didn't get the push. And like after the thing was out, like they pushed it really, really, really hard, but it was like they couldn't get any really real momentum with it. And I think the Dreamcast, like I think a lot of people, talk fondly of the Dreamcast, but like not a lot of people actually owned one or bought one. But like I always thought that the Dreamcast was pretty far ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it got the support that it needed to be successful.
Yeah.
But I think that both the Saturn and the Dreamcast were really awesome systems. But I also think that Sega is doing like a really great job as a developer and publisher.
Absolutely.
Saturn was like almost like Wii U in that like it had a lot of first party and second party support,
Yeah.
but third party was kind of lacking. Like you had
Yeah.
Resident Evil there, and
Yeah,
Capcom was good about it, but like outside of that,
yeah. Sega Saturn was a really good place to be if you wanted some fighting games.
Yeah.
But
Dreamcast too.
yeah, you had your Soul Calibur and your Marvel vs. Capcom and
Dude, Dreamcast had Vampire for matching service. Like all the matching service games started coming to Dreamcast.
yeah. But
I'm not familiar with those.
It's just the Capcom fighting games, but whenever it's for matching service, because you could finally play them online.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Got you.
yeah, because Sega Saturn didn't have any online functionality, but
But Genesis did.
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, kind of, a little bit,
Kind of, sort
a
of.
little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would be weird though.
Dreamcast fucked themselves because you could like just burn your game and throw it.
Yeah,
away,
they like
know?
that. Man, that console was a pirate's haven
Yeah.
because like
Arg.
it was just really easy to like get any.
So
any
hardware
game.
is typically made to sell software, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's why a lot of these manufacturers take a loss on the product, right? We were talking about, we already see it with PS5. They're saying that they might make a couple of dollars, literally a couple of dollars off of each PlayStation 5 sold. We don't know for sure yet because they haven't set a price yet. But that's often how it goes. PS3 took a loss at launch. A lot of consoles take a loss at launch.
$14 million.
I mean,
But the
especially since they
manufacturers
made it.
are okay with it because, well, these guys are going to buy a bunch of our games and we'll make up the money there. But like, you're not going to buy a bunch of fucking Dreamcast games when you can just burn them burn them and throw them in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But so it goes.
Yeah.
And then mine, as far as like history goes, like River City Ransom. River City Ransom. That's one thing me and Ryan have bonded over.
Sure.
To be fair, we were talking about Brian Powell earlier.
Were you?
Yeah.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I'm sorry.
You guys in your River City.
What It was a good game.
It is.
Yeah.
Really
The-
good.
the-
Is that
the
why you
problem-
like San Antonio?
No.
Oh,
The problem with the River City franchise though is that that license has had so many holders,
Yep.
and that fucking franchise is just so diluted now that there are, for all the games that carry the River City name, there are very few of them that are actually any good,
Fair.
and that's really sad.
Fair. And then, of course, like Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, did you play the 7 remake demo?
No, I haven't. I've heard it's super
Anyone?
good. I've been talking. A lot of
Yeah,
people at
it's
work have been
pretty
talking to
good.
me about it, and I've heard nothing but positive things.
Oh, I've got bad things to say about it, but like overall,
Let's hear some bad
Yeah,
things.
I wanna
Tom.
hear the bad
Let's hear
things,
some
'cause
bad
I
things.
did
Because I've heard
get
nothing
down
but
on
good
some 7.
things. I want to hear some bad things.
the bad thing is classic mode. Classic mode is a bad thing because, like, to me, I just wanted to play it like that, you know.
Classic mode being like a turn-based.
Well, okay, so Final Fantasy VII, I've heard a lot of people call it turn-based. Like, originally, it's not turn-based.
Active time battle, I mean.
Yeah. But something more like that, right?
So you wanted
It
the active
doesn't
time
do that.
battle.
One, it makes the game easier.
Right.
Like, it's easier than the game's easy mode. And then 2, it's like, it's just very passive. You're sitting there watching the computer hack and slash the enemies.
When you could be doing that.
And then once the ATB fills up, you can make a choice. And it's just
That sounds
what I
not
wanted.
fun.
But as far as like the regular gameplay mode that they're going with, I
choice.
like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Choice.
Cool.
It seemed to me like, based on what I saw, it seems like it plays the way Final Fantasy 15 plays. I don't know have you played any Final Fantasy 15?
15's more active than this is.
Okay.
You know, like there is a lot of, you do spend a decent amount of time in menus and switching to different
Okay.
party members and stuff like that. I mean, yes, there is, you hit a button to do a sword swing.
Right.
Right. But like 15's definitely more active. I'd say like 7 Remake is somewhere between 15 and Type 0.
Okay.
Like it's somewhere in between there.
Okay. Cool.
So I know I was listening to the episode actually this morning of talking about 15 before it launched, and how
Yeah.
excited Ryan was for it.
I'm still excited. I love them boys. I cried at the end of that fucking game, man. That
You
game.
cried at a couple games.
You know, I got choked up playing the 7 Remake, like playing the demo for it.
Yeah.
Like it's very nostalgic, you know?
Yeah.
Very nostalgic.
I think that.
And
to-
7's not even my favorite one. Like,
I think to me that's
but-
probably the coolest thing
Yeah.
about the fact that the thing exists is like it being able to invoke that emotion.
Yeah.
I don't have a particular attachment to Final Fantasy VII, but I think it's really great for at what it does for the people who do have the attachment to that game.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, from what I can tell, 15's got the better boys. So those are my best friends.
Is that how you rate games now? Who is the best boys? Actually,
Well, like
that's how you rated games for a hot minute.
there's so few games where I feel like I'm hanging out with my best friends, and in Final Fantasy 15 I feel like I'm hanging out with my best friends.
Oh man. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Ryan is a bit of a sucker for anything that has like good boys in it.
yeah,
If you want to sell him on
that's
something,
it's four good boys.
if you want to sell him on something, just
Yeah.
tell him there's a good boy.
Good old
Like
Not
I
really
remember.
old boys, like Nino Cooney. I had to, like,
Not
sell
those
you on
kind of
that.
good old boys. I don't think I'd be welcome around those good old boys. But no, like yeah, like Shanae said, like Tom, I was like, tell me what Nino Cooney's about, and then like Tom said, he's like, well, it's a little boy trying to help his mom. I'm like, sold. I like that shit. I don't know.
I got choked up, and because I played it recently, and it was kind of like the nostalgia valley. I played Yellow, Pokemon Yellow,
Okay.
and I finished it, and I was just like,
Yeller.
I was like, and it was like, you know how like Oak just tells you like all the things you did, and like, you're just like you had to put in some work in that game. And I remember me having just to grind because I'm a grinder in the beginning.
Sure, me too.
And then in the beginning part of the game,
Yeah.
So everything else is much easier.
I'm just sending
So you
myself
don't hit
up.
that. So
Any
you don't
game
hit
that
that
will
wall.
let me do that, I'll do. I'm doing it right now with Bayonetta. This is my
Yeah.
like third or fourth time playing Bayonetta, but like I know an exploit that'll get me a shit ton of money, so I can buy all the techniques.
Exploit that exploit.
And like that's what I've been doing for the past hour, just grinding money in Bayonetta.
I'm on my 4th playthrough now with like Fire Emblem. My first 2, I did a lot of groundwork, so my 3rd one was super easy because I
Yeah.
didn't think I was gonna like the story. And now that I'm doing it with the new Wave 4 DLC,
That game got a lot of good boys in it.
I because I've maxed out everything ahead of time, like all like the support level skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now I've figured out which characters have the best stats and how to upgrade them to have the perfect stats for them or whatever for what I want them for. I've now upped the difficulty on everything else.
Yeah, well, and you know,
because I was oh, now I'm just breezing through it and it's not really fun.
but I like as much as I like the reward for grinding in games, I like the busy work.
Sure.
Like just doing
Yeah.
that while doing something else.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Listening to a podcast.
it feels
or watching
it
a
feels
TV
good
show
because
or
Yeah,
something,
I was
you know that
I
you're
was
making
doing that with
progress.
Smallville.
So
Yeah,
you know that you're making you brought up Pokemon, and Tom and I were talking about what one good thing about Pokemon is that every other RPG has you you're trying to stop some world-ending crisis or save everyone, whereas Pokemon is just there's no imminent crisis. You're just trying to be the best Pokemon trainer.
yeah.
And even if you're not the best Pokemon trainer, the world keeps spinning and it's fine.
Yep.
And I wish that, and I do wish that there were more RPGs that had very low stakes, scenarios like that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was just thinking of other games. No, there's not really a lot.
Because and especially
Well, Monster Hunter.
well, I know Monster Hunter the stakes are we got to kill these monsters or the ecosystem is gonna collapse and everybody dies.
Is that
Oh.
what Monster Hunter's
Oh.
about?
They take a really long time to tell you that.
To make you feel okay with killing.
Well, yeah,
animals?
they take a really long time to get around to the justification of all of that.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
very funny.
So those are the stakes in that game. But the game at the same,
They should make a game like that where you're killing Siberian tigers and polar
Sure.
bears.
sure, it's we got
We gotta
to
save Earth.
we have to save Earth. So go out and get those pelts.
And then also with the newer Pokemon games, there is so many more things that you can do with it. As far as not even trying to do the gym battles, they're there, but you also have the aesthetic ones where you try to get them to certain charm levels and certain accessories and have those things in there. There's the IV training now where you want to get a perfect IV. A lot of people play them to have to breed them to get the perfect IVs and play online and never play the gym battles. So I mean even more so now compared to the original ones, you can do whatever the fuck you want and and like
yeah.
you said, there's no crisis.
Did you guys see this week or last week that little girl that won Pokemon?
Nah,
That was pretty cute. Some little 7-year-old girl won some big Pokemon major.
I bet she was really happy
Aw.
about that.
Wow,
That sounds nice.
So she must.
that's a lot of my YouTube rabbit holes is watching the Pokemon game, not the card game,
Yeah.
the game tournaments.
Oh,
and,
sure.
And it's just
I'm not even really into Pokemon, but it's cool to see.
Yeah.
it is. I spend obviously way more time people playing games than actually playing them, but yeah, very obsessed with speedruns.
Oh hell yeah!
There's a guy actually at our job that's been speedrunning Sekiro, and it's if you're not familiar, it's the same people who do Dark Souls, and he is 2 seconds away from the world record.
Damn.
That's pretty
That's
good.
about 3 years away from it. You see these people just spend months and years just trying to shave off a second.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It goes back to putting in that work. That's the rewarding part of it.
That's a really cool way that people have found to make
Add more game to their game.
Well, just make every game competitive. You know what I mean?
You know what I loved about Resident Evil 2 remake is it made everyone a speedrunner.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to speedrun that game. You know?
Yeah. That's a fantastic game, by the way.
Yeah.
I like there was an article that came out for the remake for 3.
Yeah.
How
Oh man, that game looks so fucking good.
The Nemesis is going to be able to go into the safe.
In
Yes.
the save rooms.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck you up, dude.
That's funny. That's such a good idea. That's probably so easy for them to implement, but
Yeah.
such a good idea.
Oh man, he's gonna fuck you up when you get to that save room, man.
My friend sent
Can't
me a
wait.
picture. My friend Jude, he sent me a picture of he goes, I'm gonna miss being able to do this, and then it's him in the safe room, and Nemesis just looking in, not being able to come in.
Hello there. Can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
I'm really excited. Did you ever play the original Resident Evils 2 or 3?
I played 2.
Okay.
I definitely. So funny story about 2. I found 2. I'm not sure where we found it at, but it only had Jill's CD in there.
Claire?
Oh, Claire, sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
It only
just
had,
watch your mouth.
it only had Claire's in there, so that's all. I never played. What was the other one? Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
Leon.
Yeah, so I never played Leon's. I only played Claire's, and I beat it.
Yeah.
I beat it me and my stepbrother beat it, and we didn't have a memory card or anything like that. So
Man, badasses.
We had to sit there.
You
the whole
die, you're
Sunday.
fucked.
Yeah, yeah. No, we died once when the police officer becomes a zombie.
That's not too bad.
yeah. So it wasn't. It was about maybe about like an hour and a half in, 2
Yeah.
hours in. So we just like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll start it again.
You never do the thing where you just like left the power on and went to sleep. Don't tell your mom. Well, she doesn't turn it
Well,
off.
it was in the living room one. Like so, like and,
My mom has turned it off.
yeah.
Yeah,
I hate it.
So we had to go back and then we had to beat that one. And the second time we did that, because I don't know why we never asked for memory cards.
Sure.
But the second one was Metal Gear, which
hell
is
yeah.
probably another one of my
Cool.
favorite video games of all time. We died at the electroshock when he's.
Oh my god,
shocking
that's
us
so
and-
far in.
Yeah, exactly. We're like,
sucks.
and he even tells you, he mocks you. He goes, "I've seen you haven't saved at all." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
That game
shit."
knows you.
Yeah.
Funny that I didn't know. Like I know they'll read your memory card and all that. I didn't realize that they'd if you didn't have a memory card.
He'll,
He'll tell you. I
yeah.
was like, dude. He goes,
If you got
so,
a DualShock, he'll move your controller for you.
Yeah. So my stepbrother's like, "Do you think you can do this?" I was like, "I can't. There's no way I can mash that quick."
Do you think you can do this?
We were so invested in that game. That's
awesome.
Like we were so invested in that game, and
It's a fantastic video game.
it really is. And I think when that day, speaking of Metal Gear, that day is when I really realized I must have been maybe 8th grade, maybe freshman year of high school. When we first played it, I'm not sure. But that's when I really realized how important video games are into my life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we're so just invested in this, and it just like, again, like, we're not trying to do the sob story, but it wasn't easy growing up, and it was just like a perfect outlet for me to forget about things for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a power fantasy.
Yeah, it really is.
Sinead, stop saying power fantasy. You don't know what that
thing.
means.
Well, in that game specifically, like as far as for consoles, it was one of the first. It was the first game that I could think of with like opening credits,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like a very cinematic camera, and like
Yeah.
like it felt the story actually seemed important. Like it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
very movie like.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
And you could die in the opening credits.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so captivating. I was like, more so a part of the story, like because the way the characters actually talk to you, and
Yep.
figuring out all the frequency codes, because I think I had net zero. I didn't even have like real internet. I had free internet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably don't know.
I know Net
Sinead.
Zero.
Well, I was talking about Sinead. I know Sinead.
Nah, she got white people internet.
I had AOL.
Yeah, so you know what I'm
I
talking
already
about?
used my 24-hour CD-ROM. All right.
Sure.
No,
that shit at
my parents
Albertsons.
paid for that shit.
Won't even get into my credit card fraud story about it.
Cool.
That-
Man, Sinead, your friend's cool, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's why I invited him to show y'all that AIF friends and also
Yeah.
cool people.
I mean,
like
I didn't
me.
believe you had a friend, but now that I know you got a friend and he's a fraudster, that's cool.
And a hacker.
I'm not. Just because I saw hackers
I got
doesn't make me a hacker.
Watchdogs over there.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah,
Oh man, he that movie.
sucks.
Look, yes,
face.
definitely. The movie is so overhyped of what hacking really is. I get it, but it just.
But no one knew back then.
Yeah, why
it
would
was-
you know?
oh, this is
Like
how it is?
every hacking in every movie is just like,
Yeah, no one knew.
and then he's like, I'm in.
yeah,
Every
I
time.
love that.
Yeah, Swordfish is the better hacker movie though. So watch that one.
with Travolta.
Travolta,
And,
Jackman, Barry,
Oh yeah, Halle Berry's
Hugh
boobs.
Jackman's
Cheadle. Yeah,
He's the main character.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen that since it came
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
Yeah, Halle Berry's boobs are in that movie.
yeah.
I
Sure.
remember Bennigan's was heavily promoting that movie.
Oh my God, Bennigan's.
I know this because Candy was working there at the time.
Oh, I miss Bennigan's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, you had a friend that worked at Bennigan's?
my sister did. Yeah,
sister, like the one on by the
Sister.
mall.
the one by from I-10.
Oh, okay,
Like,
never mind.
yeah.
I was when I was 21 or 19 to 21. Bennigan's was the spot. Got to get that Monte Cristo.
Promoted by Bennigan's. It's kinda like, I don't know if you guys have seen, but like Butterfinger is heavily promoting Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, they're like, there's some kind of like they
So-
have some kind of code in Butterfinger wrappers.
But
or something.
also, so like for our share last year, I think, or maybe the year before, Butterfingers. So they changed the formula
Who
and
bought Butterfinger?
Ferrero.
Ferrari Rachel.
Yeah, Ferrari Rachel bought Butterfingers and then changed the formula, and a whole bunch of people are upset about it. So I actually recently found out that their stock went down, but I wonder if like this is also to try and get people to buy Butterfingers again and like forgive the new
If
formula.
they want people to buy Butterfingers again, they put Bart Simpson back in the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1,000.
Lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
That whole campaign about when Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Oh,
And you
yeah.
could win like $1 million.
Maggie.
Yeah, or,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, but it was like a whole Butterfinger. It was a whole Butterfinger thing too. The campaign. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Butterfingers.
Aren't they like the best worst candy ever?
I like them.
They are the worst.
I think
I
I
like
heard
them.
they changed the what they did when they changed the formula so they don't get stuck in your teeth all the
Yeah.
time.
So that's
That's what they said, but it's like not as peanut buttery. It's not as like salty apparently.
Yeah.
But like I stand true that the best thing about Butterfingers is the first bite, and then the worst thing about Butterfingers is every bite after that.
yeah, because
I
it
see.
breaks. You get the brand new Butterfinger and you open it, it's already broken.
Yeah. No.
Well, Butterfingers was also advertised in Cool Borders too.
Sure.
Oh wow.
I don't remember who it was, but I had a friend whose sister used to eat sticks of butter like they were candy bars,
Oh.
and everybody called her Buttermouth.
As they should. As they should.
Shout out Butter.
That's pretty
As a
good.
matter of fact, I actually think that was Brian Duff's sister. But
Caitlin. Wow.
I'm not sure though.
Caitlin, are you Buttermouth?
I would not be surprised.
I always thought that was funny. Buttermouth.
I mean, it's like it's such an insult that doesn't actually mean anything, but it does.
Well, it means she eats butter. That's what it means.
Oh, I had a question.
Sure.
So
Last question.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Never mind.
You're
That was
funny,
No,
Shay.
go ahead.
So on last week's episode, you said you couldn't jump in until Breath of Fire,
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Sorry.
In mainline Zelda games.
So Link 2, you couldn't jump in there.
Oh, yeah, you can. Zelda 2. Yeah. Good call.
Second
Yeah.
call
The
out.
side-scrolling parts, yes, you're
All right,
You
totally
made.
right.
I've never heard
I'm
Tom
going
make
to
two
start
retractions in one
I'm
episode.
gonna
What
start
the
inviting
fuck
you
is
over
going
just to say all
on?
the things that Tom has wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was only because like that's my favorite.
Like, here's my
franchise.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom has been wrong many times.
Oh, sure.
But good luck proving it.
No, Zelda 2, that's a good one. I don't think about that.
But no one really thinks about that game.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. It wasn't the best game in the world. It was really hard.
You know,
That
some
was
of
the
my
first Zelda
favorite
game I ever
games-
saw.
Like
actually.
there are certain games that I really love that take heavy inspiration from like the side
Heavy?
scrolling sections of that game,
Mm-hmm.
like being in towns and stuff. Like the towns in Shovel Knight are the towns from Zelda 2.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
That was the first Zelda game that I ever saw, so I just thought that's what Zelda was.
Yeah.
It was just that. It turns out it ain't.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
It's a hard
so,
fucking game.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I already said it earlier. Pretty shortly ago, I was actually on. Thank you again for having me. On Tank's podcast.
The pleasure was all yours.
Really, really small here.
Me?
Yeah, like it's like you're in the sidecar.
Sorry, for our audio listeners on our video, we're on YouTube.
We got uneven chairs. Get over it.
Yeah. You want us to fix it? Buy us some new chairs.
Subscribe to their Patreon. If
Yeah,
you-
we don't have one of those.
I'll be your first Patreon.
Sure, $2 a month.
You'll
Let's
be our
go.
Patreon.
I'll be y'all's Patreon.
Yeah, let's go.
But on there, he has like a wrestling one called Stable of Studs, and what?
Oh no, I was just winking because I'm a stud.
Oh, I
Sure.
thought you were about to try and correct me.
not at all.
I'm used to being corrected. Sorry.
As it should be.
So on there, he had me because I am like almost zero knowledge, almost negative knowledge when it comes to wrestling.
Sure.
And him and his co-host asked me some questions. He has some more knowledge, obviously, to video games than I have to wrestling. But
Yeah,
I
think he's gonna be just fine.
I think so too. But I said a word at work and he didn't know what I meant.
If it's newer games, I'm probably gonna. I'm just gonna.
Well,
make
these
it
are
up
just
on the
going to be
fly.
all terms.
Okay. Terms.
And Tom, you can't help because I know you're gonna want to help.
Well,
Okay.
in what we did on there, he would use it in a sentence
Okay.
on there. So I would have like context clues.
Okay.
So some of these are probably going to be pretty easy for you and some on there. So what I'm just going to do is say terms and he's going to say what they mean.
Okay.
So first one is griefer.
Ooh. Well, it does rhyme with beefer.
Oh God, beefers.
Man, you see that guy over there? That's what we call a beefer.
No, you're dropping beefers.
The dropping beefers is when you get that stank fart.
Oh. Oh yeah, like when someone's like, "Who beefed?"
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Griefer.
Beefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
For Sutherland.
Griefer Sutherland. Oh, that's a good. I should change my PSN name to that.
Beefer Sutherland.
No, griefer Sutherland.
Oh, okay. So yeah, use it in a sentence if y'all don't mind.
You didn't have the sentences pre-written, Shanae?
No, I don't have sentences pre-written. So this one, he got kicked out. He got kicked off of.
Oh wait, what's the trivia music?
Oh yeah.
That one.
Let's
that
take a
one.
guess. I don't have the headphones, so I don't know if you're
It's
right.
gonna be
or
the
wrong.
horror music. Oh, you got it.
Is it the game show music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So griefer, he got kicked out of the group for griefing.
Is that someone like when you rage quit and like you're just crying about like losing so much that you just you're griefing over like your loss? So you're a griefer.
No, it's like when he's like harassing a player, and
Oh.
normally whenever like you just keep killing them over and over again, normally people will teabag also, but you're just like griefing them. You are a
Okay.
griefer.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna start teabagging Ryan more in Street Fighter.
A side note, my favorite YouTube video for video games is when that one clan destroys this funeral for World of
Oh,
Warcraft.
yeah.
Oh man.
One of my favorite
those are-
videos of all time.
There's another one where
That's a
like
big
they
old
destroy a
griefer.
wedding too. That's really good.
Yeah, the wedding. Yeah, that one was good.
That's very
The
funny.
funeral was like a
Don't
little
get
bit more
married in video
disrespectful.
games, man. Get married in real life.
So I would see that as a
Serious.
griefer. Would I be correct in that assumption?
Well, you say they were griefing. Yeah, you can say those are griefers.
Okay.
Like they don't.
I'd say they're
AAA.
heroes.
I respect that clan so much.
Sure.
AAA.
AAA, not a wrestling promotion in Mexico.
No.
Okay, well it is. AAA. Oh man, batteries. Use it in a sentence, please.
So Assassin's Creed is a AAA game.
Oh, like an outstanding rated game,
That's
Or-
actually
or-
not.
or-
That's not a bad.
or maybe a very difficult game.
mean,
It's
these are
normally
all-
when it's like it's normally like a first party game or a just game that has like a company that is really well known backing it, so they're putting a lot of money into it.
High production
High
value.
production.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
But your guesses actually did make sense.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So alpha.
Alpha.
Or
that-
you can even say alpha testing.
Oh, alpha testing.
So you can
So I would assume that's kind of like beta testing. So alpha testing is when people reach out to you and like, hey, we know you're a superior player, so we're going to give you some alpha testing games to check out for us, bud.
But
You're totally right. Like, yeah, it's just an earlier beta.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good deal.
FGC.
One more time.
F as in Frank, G as in golf, C as in Charlie, FGC.
FGC. Please use that one in a sentence.
I feel like
Frank Golf Charlie.
Frank Golf Charlie.
I feel like Tom.
No,
Tom
no,
had a little-
no. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Shanae.
Shanae.
This is your game. Use this. Use it in a sentence.
I can't think of a good sentence to use it in. I know what it is,
Oh,
but I can't think of a good way to use it in a sentence.
Tom, go ahead and help her out.
Yeah, please. It's hard
I'm
to think.
blanking here. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's harder than you think. Yeah.
Okay, how about this? I play a lot of Street Fighter competitively, so I'm a member of the FGC.
Sure.
the fucking game community.
Cool.
Where we play Street Fighter and we
Yeah.
fucking rock.
That's it, pretty much.
Yeah, it is the fucking game community.
Fighting game community.
Fighting game community.
Yeah,
You're
Gotcha.
same
pretty
thing.
close.
SDK.
SDK?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the
Sierra Delta Kilo.
Murder, death, kill.
don't they make games?
You're thinking of SNK.
SNK. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
SDK.
I'll pass along your apology to them.
I would need a sentence.
So, God, yet again, still blank.
You create these terminologies, and
Yeah.
you know that I might have to ask.
Okay,
for a
so
sentence.
I'm
This was
creating
Tom's
a
suggestion, by
I'm
the way.
creating a game, so I'm developing it on this SDK. I even use the word.
System developing community console.
Pretty
System-
close.
System development console.
Software development. kit.
Software development kit. K.
Yeah.
I remember console.
Console with a K.
K-O-N-S-O-L-E.
Like the Mortal, well, it's because of Mortal Kombat. You see, if it's a K or
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
You know what's funny is Shanae was like, if you don't know, I'll use it in a sentence, and then she had no sentences prepared.
All right, so SDK was Tommy's suggestion to the list.
Okay.
Well, you asked me for some.
So I can NoobTube.
NoobTube?
I don't know
Okay.
what that is.
So
I know what that one is.
I think I know what
Is
this
that
is.
with porno?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a nude tube.
Oh, right.
NoobTube.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So NoobTube, it is a attachment to your
Almost.
your normal gun,
There it comes.
and it shoots out like a
There it goes.
bazooka like missile or bullet. Basically, it's easier to kill your opponent with this attachment there, or a bazooka kind of gun.
Okay, tell him, Shanae.
So I am blanking on the name of it, but it's a weapon in Halo, and it's what a lot of the like newer players will win, so they called it a NoobTube.
Oh,
I did not know that.
I've
So-
always heard it in the context of like the standalone grenade launcher in Call of Duty.
Yeah, so I've heard it in COD too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But, I
then
mean,
we
Shanae's
actually
the
used it
game master
earlier,
here.
but Shadow Drop.
Shadow Drop.
I feel like that
Oh,
doesn't apply
It's what
just to
it's
games.
when you
no,
take
it's not.
it's when you take a poop in the dark.
Well, I thought about it before
Like a
the
rainbow in the
show.
dark.
I thought about it for the show, but then we actually used it in the show, and I was like, oh, hey.
Shadow Drop. I'll give you the fake answer first.
Just give us a real answer.
Okay, all right, good deal.
Yeah.
Shadow Drop is when no marketing goes behind a launch or a launch of a new console, and you just kind of pushed out to the market, and they're like, hey, I didn't know this console was coming out.
Sega Saturn.
Like a Saturn.
Yeah.
Or game. There's a lot of times at gaming conventions they'll be like, and it's available right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fallout
On
Shelter.
mobile.
But
Hi,
Bethesda
Blizzard.
Shadow dropped Fallout Shelter.
Yeah. I played,
Thanks for that, Diablo.
yeah. Thanks, Diablo.
Yeah, and that's all I had. Unless like you.
Oh, and speaking of mobile, Symphony of the Night's on mobile now.
I didn't know
saw
that.
that. Like as of a few days ago, right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I'm excited about it. It's one of my
Yeah.
other favorite games.
That's
too.
rad.
Hey, how did I do?
You got them all
Awesome.
right.
Awesome.
100%.
100%.
You didn't get
A
them all
plus.
right
I
though.
didn't get them all right.
Well, I didn't get them all right either, but they said I did.
Has
on the
Shanae
show.
always been this much of a liar? Or-
She
Y'all liked me on your show.
Sure.
Well, Tanner did.
huh?
Tanner did.
Huh?
Tanner?
Oh.
The guy on your show? So that's all our show you have now. If you have any thing you want to like kind of add to what we've talked about, anything
Wait,
about wrestling.
Tank. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah.
I was gonna go through that after I gave the call to action, but yeah, no. Let's know what you want to talk about wrestling games.
What?
Yeah, I
Plug your show, Tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I gotta plug your show.
Okay.
This show has been amazing. It's
Cool.
been a highlight to my hour drives to work.
Cool.
So I really do appreciate y'all.
Hell
I
yeah,
hope
dude.
y'all keep doing what y'all are doing.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank you.
And of course, you can find me on Spotify,
Yep.
Apple Podcasts,
Hell yeah.
iHeart,
Hell yeah.
Google Podcasts.
Hell yes.
The Tank Rodriguez Show.
Yes.
We talk about wrestling on Stable of Studs. We have a
That's a good name.
horror movie podcast called Texas Podcast Massacre.
Cool.
Talk about regular movies, Going Commando, and sometimes I get a little bit of motivation.
relationship talks.
Relationship advice. I do that too. Not that I'm an expert. I just talk about relationships.
Everyone's
You have
a racist
guests.
expert.
I have guests on. And a solo show where I get a little bit of some motivational speaks, but I'm nobody. But if
You're
you
somebody
wanna-
to us, man.
I really appreciate
somebody
y'all.
to us.
But yeah, the Tank Rodriguez Show. Just Google it, search it anywhere, and you'll find me. You can follow me on Instagram at the Tank Rodriguez, Twitter Tank_Rodriguez. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here, Tank. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Honestly, the pleasure is really all mine. It
I know,
really is.
but
Tanks for the memories.
yeah, Tank's a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Which actually was when I was wrestling. That was my finishing move. It's
Yeah.
called "Thanks for Coming."
Also in the bedroom.
And also, this is you got a nice little setup here, man. I know before we go, I was one of the first episodes. You were talking about how you would bring like girls over here, and you had to like explain what this is going on.
Sure.
And in my head, I saw it totally different.
Yeah.
You know, so this is a lot more in your face, and this is
fewer condoms you imagined.
oh man.
Well, it cleans up surprisingly well. Like, because before we were using just this regular table, and then I bought this thing that has wheels, so I can like push it up against the wall.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I would
make it look more like just a desk.
I would incorporate it into the bedroom. I mean, it
Yeah.
is in the bedroom, but you know, in your everyday bedroom life. But anyway,
Yeah.
I digress.
Put the desk on the bed. Sure. Let's record next week from the bed.
They
Sure.
they have
the
those
From the
those
bed.
exercise desks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now you're like, let's be more lazy about this and put it on the bed.
Sure.
We should just wear pajamas and lay there and record the show.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like that.
Just have matching jams.
Yeah.
But you can find us on whatever you're listening on, as well as like, you know, any podcast app. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And, you know, leave us comments or reviews. We're also on Discord. I'm going to try and get on that actually for the first time ever. So
Cool. Shanae's going to join the Discord.
Yeah, about
Tell
time.
your friends about this show. It's an amazing show for video games.
Oh, cool.
Tell
Thank
people.
You. Yeah, thank you.
Well, he said to do it, so do it, guys.
Yeah. To that one guy listening to us in Ghana, like, get on it.
We want 3 listeners in Ghana. But yeah, bye, guys.
Later.
Bye.